All right, welcome, and we're here with a very special edition of Drive Home Reviews for a couple of reasons. One, this is the last one I'll be doing for the summer, and two, I'm joined by two wonderful guests, an old friend and a new friend. So we have here...
I'm Amanda.
One of my former students at TBA, and now...
His favorite, really.
Yes, so many to choose from, but if you're going to go see a Disney movie, take a princess with you. And joining us here as well is Amanda's wonderful husband, Johann. Did I get it right?
Yep, Johann, right.
I did it, yes. All right. So, we're going to discuss this thing we just saw.
There's a lot to unpack.
There's oh man, that's the problem. I don't know if there's a lot to unpack or if there's nothing to unpack, because I feel like I've seen this movie before.
It was a bit familiar, yeah. I like how you pointed out in the credits, based on.
Yeah, it's like it's scrolling up and it's like it gives a based on a screenplay by. It wasn't based on, it was. Which I don't know if we're surprised by that, really. I mean, these Disney live action remakes are either shot for shot, or they try to take it in some weird direction, trying to overcorrect for something that they felt was done in the first one or whatever. So let's just go around the horn and just say what gut reactions. What y'all think, aside from it just being the same movie?
Yeah, it was the same. They even did some scenes identical. Like, yeah. It felt like you were watching the animated one. But I will say, in some parts, I was very impressed with the CGI. Like, the part where the beetle is rolling the dung. It really looked like something off of Discovery Channel. I thought that was impressive. And my thoughts going into this, and I think I still kind of feel this way, if Disney...
Sorry?
You know, this is like the umpteenth Disney remake, live action remake, but I feel like if they must do one, Lion King is the one to do.
Alright. Ellen, what do you think?
So, I actually thought it was really good, which is probably because I didn't really grow up so much with the movie, but I grew up with the audio version of the movie,
okay.
So I just listened to it on the little tape thingy. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, like a
audio, like he grew up with the Harry Potter audio.
Okay, yeah.
So like I think I may have only seen the original movie like once or twice maybe, but I grew up first knowing the audio to the movie, so I always imagined it being real life.
Okay.
Real, like, live action. So I actually liked it a lot better. It got to me like a lot more than just watching cartoon characters. So I actually really enjoyed it, but I'm sure if I was more familiar scene to scene with the original movie, I would feel more like you, but I really enjoyed the movie, and to me it like means more if they're like real lions. I also really like the facial expressions and everything.
That's interesting.
So I actually really enjoyed it.
Okay. That's an interesting take. Because I'd never thought of it that way, but because I used to do that too. I used to listen to a lot of movies on audio. I'd tape them off the TV and listen to them like in my room, and even though I'd seen the pictures, I'd visualize them. So that's interesting for someone who hasn't, like, I'm so much older than the two of you, because I was in high school when the original came out. So I was in that cynical kind of teenager phase where, for me, Disney movies kind of peaked with Beauty and the Beast. And so this one, when it came out, I was like, okay, that was good. Animation was good, but it really didn't. It wasn't one I was in love with. The only thing I loved about it the most was Scar. Mm-hmm. Scar to me was like the creme de la creme of villains, and Jeremy Irons' performance in that was like just the best. So I don't have a deep like this film's untouchable kind of thing, but at the same time, it's amazing that this film felt so epic and yet so small at the same time to me. Because I agree with you, the visuals and the CGI were incredible, and you didn't know sometimes when it was like a live action shot or when it was a CGI shot, so that's really impressive. But then big moments like the scene where Mufasa comes out of the clouds felt so small and so unimpressive. And I think that's where you could really get impressive with it. And they just kind of went, meh. So yeah, I was a little startled with that. I liked what you said a second ago, Johann, about the you thought the facial expressions and all were really good. I am actually kind of in the opposite camp, as I felt that because they were trying to be so realistic, that the characters didn't emote as much. It felt like with the animated one or the hand animated one, they were able to kind of whatever it is when they kind of add human features onto it, so the characters could emote a bit more. And here, it's like the scene where Mufasa dies, Simba's face is kind of just
like I noticed
solid. That. There's no emotion there because the cat can't show that kind of emotion. So
one of the first things I told Amanda during the movie was that I think it's really weird that they speak just because they look so real, So I wasn't sure if that was gonna work out really good.
And I think it did in some cases.
Yeah.
And the singing was kind of weird to me too, because Scar, I thought Scar looked really good. He looked like an aging lion, but still impressive. And then he's be prepared, like
that. Oh boy, that made me mad. There was some shit in this film that made me so mad. Again, I'm not a purist for the original. I'm not this can't be touched, but there are some things. And I thought Be Prepared was the best song from the original.
Really?
I did. I loved that song. I loved that musical number. And it was like a snippet of it. And you could tell, I could never pronounce the actor who plays Scar's name, so I'm not going to try. I'm just going to call him the agent because he played the agent in Serenity. You can tell he could not sing.
No.
Because he is...
Yeah,
he's doing a Rex Harrison and speaking all of his lines.
Yes.
And it was like that. I was waiting for that number. I was like, this is going to be cool to see what this looks like in live action. And boy, and they cut that. I was like, seriously?
I'm wondering how the film feels to someone who actually really doesn't know the story, and I'm sure there are very few people out there who actually don't know the story at all.
Yeah, because I was wondering that too. Like for like a little kid who's never seen the original, I would imagine for like a real little kid, especially one that likes animals, which is like all of them. I would imagine this is going to be their new favorite thing ever. So it's just kind of old fogies like us or me who have marinated in that original for so long. I think we're the ones that are going to have problems with it. And the only major problem I have with it is I don't feel like it added much.
No.
And again, but like you were saying, if it's for a brand new audience, they're going to love it. They're not going to see a problem.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to add anything, why do it? Re-release the original into theaters. Because I would pay to see that, even though again, it wasn't my favorite movie, but it's gorgeous.
Like to me, I didn't really have a problem because I wasn't even really aware of all the scenes from the movie. Like I knew like what was happening, but I didn't have the visual scenes of the original movie in front of me to compare them. So I really didn't have a problem.
And that and that's a blessing these days because everything's repackaged, everything's a revamp or a remake. So to go into it fresh, man, I'm envious of you for that, honestly.
No, I mean I enjoy the movie. I see your point though with everything, but I really enjoyed the movie. I thought some of the singing was kind of weird.
Yeah.
It didn't really need to be. I don't know. Could have been.
Beyonce was pretty extra, which I mean I expected her singing to be extra because she is Beyonce, but for the song, when they're singing "Can You Feel the Love Tonight," there's just so much.
She's like really going for it. And what's funny is that she's really going for it in the singing, but the acting part of it, the voice acting, boy, it was flat.
Yeah.
It was a very flat performance from her. Like you can tell it's someone who's just reading lines off of a script. I'm gonna say this, and I found Timon Pumbaa annoying in the original, and here, boy howdy, they were just plain obnoxious. God almighty. It was just like, every time, like, just please stop.
Don't you think
Please.
that's supposed to be like a little bit obnoxious? Because I mean,
There's obnoxious and there's that. I mean, because I'm just like, please stop what you're doing, because it hurts me every time you talk. Like, and I'm gonna go back to something you said. You know, like we were saying that the film didn't add anything, but no, it had to add a subplot of Pumbaa's hair, Simba's hair, flying across the Pride Lands, being eaten by a giraffe, getting shit out by the giraffe, and having a beetle push the rolling of giraffe crap. That was vital. They had
that was a scene that didn't really.
yeah, there were a couple of those,
Just
like in the
completely
very opening scene with the mouse. We're watching this mouse do its thing for
like,
2 minutes.
Yeah.
It serves no purpose, and just there was quite a few things like that, but
The whole scene of Nala actually leaving the Pride Lands to go for help, like, why? I can assume when she gets there. This doesn't make her more of a character. All right? It doesn't help. It's still kind of a, okay, thanks for that. But, but you can tell them about the maddening point. You can tell them about the point I nearly wanted to strangle this movie.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm not.
So there was a terrible Beauty and the Beast reference that was Timon. You see Timon with his paws kind of like this, and then we hear the music, and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, your dinner!" And then he starts to sing "Be Our Guest." We're not kidding. You can't make this stuff up. And I mean, I know that Disney really likes putting little Easter eggs in their film, like you see I was just watching Princess and the Frog the other day, and there was the carpet from Aladdin. Like they like to do little things like that. I'm okay with that, but this was just, it was cringy.
Well, I feel like they were trying to make a more serious movie here, so they wanted to take, for everyone to take this movie seriously, but then they shouldn't do a reference like that.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. They're trying so hard to be so realistic and so realistic looking animals and all this, and you go and you pull something like that, and like for me at least, that point is already bent a little bit to the breaking point with the extended Lion Sleeps Tonight bit, which was cute for like a minute, and then they kept going, and I was like, are they going to do the whole song? Is that the world we're living in now? Apparently it is. So I was already kind of on the brink, and yeah, they pulled that. You're going to this uber realistic looking movie and reference. I just couldn't. I haven't been that mad since yesterday.
Yeah, you were in the seat next to me saying, "I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna kill them."
I was, yeah. Ooh, Lord of mercy, that hurt. But I guess, if we're being honest, little things like that, annoyances. But I wouldn't necessarily say deal breakers. I kind of hate to say it because I hate these live action Disney remakes. I just hate them. I find them just utterly pointless. But if you're gonna make them, this is kind of the best one of them that I've seen. I have my problems with the character designs and the animation, but I will also admit it was awesome kind of watching like a live. I don't know how, again, if you two were ever exposed to this as youngsters. Back when I was a kid, we watched like the old time Disney wilderness movies.
They still will make one every now and then.
So there were times in this movie I was just waiting for that voice. Well, it's about this time old Mr. Bunny Rabbit was about coming out of his hole to see what was going on. I felt like I was watching one of those old Disney nature videos from elementary school. So I mean, I guess I'm trying not to be such an old fogey and just go, oh, this is different than I remember. Boo! But I'm old. I'm set in my ways, folks. I'm sorry. I'm going a little grayer every day. I got off on a tangent there. Sorry.
What I like, so I kind of, since we have cats at home, I could relate a lot, especially to the little Simba face, which I think
he was pretty cute.
Yeah.
It was very accurate. So like I actually really felt bad for him when his dad died, even though then that human voice came in of him like going no, which kind of totally destroyed the moment because the little cat was so sad by itself, and then they added that human voice, which kind of destroyed it. But I really liked how, in that sense, I liked the emotion that they put into it, because I could see that being a real cat, and then just kind of being lost, not knowing what to do. So
they really.
But there's just a very small line between that and then adding the human voices.
Yeah.
To it. So,
when they zoom out on him and he goes, no!
He's got that,
and then he has the flashback of that later. I think they could have done without that.
I will agree with that, because some of the expressions and some of the the things they did, even with the limitations of kind of an animal face versus a human face, very expressive, and just like you say, those little things like him pawing at Mufasa to try to get him up and all that was very effective. And then they kind of started talking.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, just in one of those old versus new kind of things. I think the voice cast of the original was better.
Yes.
Though I will say I was happy not to deal with Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
I'm only used to the German version.
Yeah?
So I told her I've never seen it in English.
Really?
I only listen to it in German all the time.
Oh, wow.
I like the German
I want to hear Mufasa speak German.
I kind of want to hear that too.
That's so good. We can look it up later.
Does the guy when they translated, the guy do it with Mufasa, did he have like a really deep voice?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, that's interesting, because over here we're used to getting other people's things and having it redubbed for us, like a Godzilla movie or anime or something like that. So it'd be so interesting to see one of our films redubbed into another. Wow,
everything in Germany is dubbed. Everything is in German, even though like all the American movies are all in German.
What's even crazier is like the guy in Germany that speaks for James Earl Jones will always speak for James Earl Jones in the movies.
Like
one set actor that they voice.
Like Johnny Depp has one. All the big actors have like one set German actor who always will synchronize.
That's cool though.
Yeah,
that's like. Because it still feels like continuity, so it still feels like.
So to me, when I first heard Johnny Depp's real voice, I was like, "What? That's not how he's supposed to sound like." And it took me a long time to get used to Johnny Depp's real voice, because I was so used to his German voice.
That's awesome. That's cool. Now I need to look. I'm gonna look this stuff up. I want to know what Johnny Depp sounds like in German. That's cool.
And in Ice Age, what were you telling me about Ice Age? They liked the German Sid the Sloth so much more that they changed his voice more to the German Sid the Sloth to American, because sometimes Germany does it better.
I mean,
and in animated movies, it doesn't really matter so much as in movies.
So yeah, I mean, I had little pitfalls with this movie, little things, but even for me, a nitpicker. Again, if it's kind of like making a sequel to certain films. If you have to make a sequel to something, I think that's about as good as you're going to get. If you have to do a live action remake, I think this is about as good as you're going to get. Any final thoughts? Anything before we go to final grades? Any other points of annoyance or interest that you found with this film that you just want to bring up? Because what the hell?
I thought that the hyenas would be comedic, they were dead serious.
I hated the hyenas in this one. I loved Whoopi Goldberg and Cheech Marin.
Mm-hmm.
That's one I had. That is a change I had a real hard time with. Kind of like you were saying that they went so serious with it. It's like they were trying to walk a balance between Disney Lion King and Game of Thrones. Suddenly the hyenas had to be like, you know, the Dothraki or something. They had to be fearsome and scary and couldn't.
They were pretty scary.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. I was like, oh yeah, I know. They're creeping me out now. It's like, I think if you're gonna make it Game of Thrones, go all the freaking way. I mean, have Scar be like Peter Dinklage and really drive home the point as you kind of leaned over and pointed out, you know, there are no other male lions in this. So who is Nala's father? It's like Lannisters, folks. Fucking Lannisters.
We need to get Jerry Springer.
Yeah, oh man.
This Lion King.
It's like if we're gonna go Game of Thrones with it, we need to go all the way there. That's the other thing I noticed. They really turned up the notch on Pumbaa and Timon living in a hippie commune. Like that was like it was just like a lot. I was waiting for the pot reference. They made a lot of fart references, but they never made a pot reference. I was waiting for it. You know, it's like, man, this place is even more of a hippie commune than Carolot. I mean, Jesus. Yeah. So we all know. It's the way we wrap things up here on Drive Home Reviews. Final grade. I'm a teacher, so that's how I grade things. So, A to F. What do we think? What's your final grade there, Johann?
A B.
B?
Yep.
All right. Miss Amanda?
I'm kind of in the middle. Like, it wasn't really necessary to make, but they did, and it was not bad.
Yeah.
And I think seeing Mufasa die in CGI was even more sad.
That was horrifying.
And I just wanted to reach in and pet him, and he had these little kitten eyes, and so I think that's why it was more sad for me. But I would give it like B-, C+.
Okay. Pick one. Come on.
C+.
C+. All right. So Amanda goes with the C+. I'm gonna land a bit in the middle here. I'm gonna say B- for me. Again, I don't think it was necessary. I think it shows off Jon Favreau is a very good director. I wish they'd give him something more than these live-action remakes to do. I mean, he did the first 2 Iron Man films, so I mean, so you know the guy's got chops, but it's unnecessary. But ultimately, I'll put it this way. I left the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast. I was mad. I left the live-action remake of Dumbo. I was astonished by how accurate that title was.
I haven't seen Dumbo yet.
Oh, Lord.
Well, because it already looked
pretty rough.
Yeah. You know, I left the live-action remake of Aladdin, and I was like, that was a thing. I left the live-action remake of this. I was like, all right. Yeah, I don't mind that. So I don't mind that being the best review I can give. It wasn't terrible. And yeah, and in this day and age, sometimes that's the only thing you can really hope for.
So if you had to choose a movie that Disney were to remake in the live action, what would you choose?
I actually just heard, and I don't know how true this was, that they were talking about doing a live action remake of their film The Black Cauldron.
Oh.
Which was a box office bomb and a critical bomb when it came out. Kind of, it was in that right in the middle, right before Little Mermaid hit big. But it was a very big departure for them. It was more fantasy. It had some really scary stuff. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, that's a film I kind of think deserves a second chance.
Yeah.
And maybe they can do more with a very interesting premise than they did originally. So I'll say The Black Cauldron. That's a good. Let's go out on that. So if there's one that you'd say, okay, they can remake that, what would it be?
I think that they should remake some of the more underrated Disney movies instead of ones so renowned as The Lion King. And, you know, though it wasn't bad, I would love to see maybe, like, yeah, Black Cauldron is one of the older ones. When did that come out? Like the 60s?
No, that was the 80s. That
80s, okay.
That was right on, right, they had been in a slump for a long time, and this is right before I think it was even before, it was before Oliver and Company and The Great Mouse Detective and things like that. So yeah. You know, and any for you that you wouldn't mind seeing them redo?
I really can't think of any right now. I just hope they never do Mickey Mouse.
A live action Mickey Mouse would be terrifying.
I may be a mouse, but at least I'm not a racist. You know, in my heart, I've always loved The Sword and the Stone. I named my cat after Archimedes the owl. I love Archimedes, but I just don't know. I don't know. That would be a tricky one. So I don't know what I would like to see next.
Yeah, but I think you're right. Go back to some of those lesser known ones.
There's some people wanting an Atlantis remake.
I've heard that. I will confess I've never actually seen Atlantis.
It's been forever for me.
It's
never been one of my
They should
favorites.
redo that one where Roseanne Barr played the cow.
Home on the Range.
They should redo that. That's what they should redo. Because who's really going to get pissy about that? Who's going to be there going, this is not like the original? Who? Nobody, because nobody saw the original.
No, it's true.
This is for 3-year-olds. They don't remember shit. There you go. That's the one they should remake, the cow movie.
Oh, you know what would be terrible? If they did like a reverse CGI, even though I know this movie wasn't CGI. You know what I think is one of the most heartbreaking Disney movies ever?
Fox and the Hound?
Oh, we don't even go there, Brandon. No. Okay, so I know it's not CGI, but March of the Penguins, because it's one of those nature ones. What if they turned that into a cartoon? I think children would come out of the theater just...
Now that I've said it, they totally need to redo Fox and the Hound, because children today need to learn the valuable lesson that I learned as a young man, and that is that someday, kids, you will hunt down and murder your best friend. So...
I think it's funny with all the real live action movies. I feel like they're trying to get back to the point to what the fairy tales were actually intended to do by the Germans when they all wrote them, because they were supposed to be terrifying.
Yeah.
So I felt like even when I just watched that Maleficent thing.
Yeah, the trailer.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, whoa, like
and how dark the real story
trying
is.
to do the fairy tales scary again, like they were actually intended to be originally. And then they came with all the cartoons. Everyone was like, okay, that's not really scary.
So they're going back and I hadn't even thought of that, but you're absolutely right. All right, so I want to thank my wonderful guests for joining me. It's been a special treat. Amanda is one of the biggest fans of Drive Home reviews.
I am.
It's you, my friends Liz, Elizabeth, and Dan are the ones who have watched these from the very beginning. So we've been trying to get this. It was a wonderful to meet Johann today and have him along, especially to get a different perspective from a different culture, which is always wonderful because we're so kind of marinated, and I'm, again, old, so I've been living in the one way for so long. Nice to get a nice fresh perspective that you wouldn't normally get. So this is the last one from Alaska. I'll be uploading these soon. So until next time, drive safe, and I'll see you at the movies.
Bye.
Bye.